Hey, Christine, how are you? Happy Yule, happy winter solstice. Thank you so much for that reading. I was like near tears when you were going through some of it because it, uh, it kind of just affirmed that I am going to get to where I need to be, and the timing that you were saying, and not to spend too much time on my readings, I want to get to yours, but a couple of years ago, a friend of mine, Lynn, she's very spiritually connected as well, and I want you to meet her. I want to bring her into the store, but she had given me a reading, and she was saying, a 2 year time, 2 year time. I don't see you teaching past 2 years. So that would be the end of this current school year, which would be July. So what you said made so much sense, and it's just kind of like reinvigorated me, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'm excited. And I definitely will be asking questions as time goes on. And please feel free to do the same. Anything I can do to help you, please let me know. But again, this is about you, so let's get to you. What was funny is that, I was really preparing for this, and I was thinking about your questions and Jesse and all of that stuff. And as I pulled my cards out of just the little sack I keep them in, I got the Two of Cups. So I thought that was, sweet. It was a nice indication. It doesn't necessarily mean anything for the reading per se, but it was the first card I saw thinking of you and this question when I pulled them out. So I thought that was kind of telling. Now, when I do my readings, I like to kind of, especially when there's a question involved first, I like to kind of focus on that question first by doing a quick 3-card reading, and then going into the Celtic cross for you, which is how the 3 cards relates to you and where you should go from there. And of course, I'll send you a picture of the spread when everything is done. But first, I wanted to focus on your question, which was with your no contact twin flame, and how there's been a few years since you've had contact, and he's been with an older woman for a couple of years. So before we go at anything, I want to kind of focus on that question you had. Does he think about you? Do you ever cross his mind, essentially? So we're going to focus on, does Jesse still think about Christine? Jesse's feelings towards Christine? All right, this was kind of the first card you pulled for me too, which I think is kind of interesting. But usually when the Six of Wands comes up in a reading for me, I think if it's like a victory won, you've overcome something, so the fact that this card came up with that question being focused on, I'm thinking that after all of this time, I have a strong feeling that you've been on his mind, frequently lately. I know he's not reaching out and doing the contact, but with this card, I'm getting the sense, and especially, I apologize, I tend to ramble when all these messages are coming through, but the fact that was your question, you were thinking about him, I do think you've been on his mind too. So what does that mean? The Magician. Again, another card that you had pulled from me. I'm getting the message that if you're comfortable with it, if you want it, I feel like you're going to need to be the one to reach out. I don't know if that's something you want to do or if you're ready to do, but I feel like all the time that's gone by, you've both grown into different people. With the Magician, he's in control of everything, so the emotions, the all of that stuff. I feel like if it's something you want or something you're considering, you're going to have to be the one to initiate it. I do think it's going to be a pleasant experience. It's going to be, the buildup in your mind is going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But when you actually go about and make that call, even if it's just, a Happy New Year or a thinking of you, Merry Christmas, whatever it is, I feel like you're going to be the one to initiate it. Is that something that should be done soon, though? Is that something you should do? all these cards are coming up like these readings are connected. I feel like you need to set your sights somewhere else. I don't think reaching out is necessarily a bad idea. I think it might bring some closure at this point. Not to say that going forward, who knows what the future holds, but for right now, I almost feel like you reaching out and kind of saying everything is okay is going to be more for you than for him. I'm getting the sense that you need to kind of set your sights elsewhere. Where else is this going to take you? Because at this point, I'm not seeing more connection than just a, hey, how are you? I hope that makes sense. And I don't know if that's what you were hoping for, but that's just the message I'm getting. I think you need some closure. I think there's been a lot of things that have been unresolved. I think there's been a lot of feelings that you've been carrying around. And I feel like that reaching out, hey, how are you? I hope everything is okay. Whatever. I feel like that's going to be more therapeutic for you than you realize. And your last question was, is he safe? Is he going through his healing? I do want to ask about that too. So how is he doing? The walking away card, the into the unknown card. This card comes up when you know what's safe, but you don't want it anymore. You know it's familiar, but it's no longer comfortable, so you're leaving. So he may be in a point too where he's walking away from that lady he's been with. He's at a fresh start as well. I'm not saying that it's going to be, oh, cool, we're both here, let's do this. I do think the closure, setting your sights, but I think he's finally walking away from things that have been hurting him. That's what I'm getting. I hope that makes sense to you. But I think he's finally ready to take a step away from destructive patterns. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But now that we kind of have this cleared with Jesse, I kind of want to go into the spread and just see what this means for you and see where your path is taking you. So first up, I'm just going to shuffle and focus on you, Christine. Yeah. Okay. So the first card represents you today. This is your this moment in time card. Ace of Cups. Everything's coming up aces. This is a wonderful place to start. Everything is new. Your emotions are flowing over. It's a new feeling. It's a happy feeling. So this is kind of what you were talking about with me. It's like you took a risk. You have what you want. You're feeling good. You're feeling empowered. Ace of Cups is a great place to start. So you, no matter where we branch out from at this point, you're in a really good spot. Allow yourself to feel the happiness too. I'm sure opening up a new business and doing all of everything you're doing and trying to figure things out as you go is overwhelming. It's stressful, but I want you to really, no matter where we go from here, focus on the feeling that it gives you. You're doing what you want. You're doing what you were meant to do. Enjoy that. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it's all worth it. So great place to start. Now, the next card represents something that can either help or hinder you depending on what comes up. The Fool. You're optimistic. You're looking forward to the new year, to everything that's going right. You're trusting the universe. You're trusting yourself. You know that, of course, there's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be things that could hurt along the way, but you're not focusing on those. You've got your head up towards the sun. This is another great place. I'm getting the sense that maybe not for the first time, but maybe the first time or the first time in a long while, you're putting yourself first. You're doing things that you need to do in order to succeed, in order to get what it is you want out of life, magically, spiritually. you're trusting yourself. You're trusting the grand plan. You're trusting spirit guides. That's amazing. And I feel like you've always done that, but there's, what's that? Okay. The disconnect I'm getting at this point is this connection with Jesse that's still going on. And I think that's always going to be there. And I do have a sense that your paths are going to cross at some point, because that's kind of what, twin flames do. I think you are going to reconnect. I don't think now is the right time for that, aside from what we said. Say hello, kind of close for you, kind of make sure everything's okay, and move on and focus on you for a while. Create these new emotions and this new independence and this new feeling, and then we'll see where you are going back to him. So hopefully that makes sense. The next card represents a goal that's kind of on the back burner right now. You want to achieve this, but other things need to fall into place first. The Chariot. Move confidently in the direction of your dreams. So this is all about movement. It's about progression. It's about going towards what it is you want. There's bigger things that you want. The store was the start of it, but that's going to lead you to so many other connections, experiences, all kinds of things are going to come from this move that you've made. And of course, it's going to take time. You can't have everything at once. It's going to unfold over the course of the coming year and past that, but you are moving forward. I'm getting a strong sense that the store is going to be a huge success for you, and the connections you're going to get from that are going to help push you along even further. So you're doing great. And after this, I know I do tend to ramble, and usually when somebody's back and forth, we can kind of have more of a question and answer type thing. So please feel free to ask any questions or clarifications afterwards. We can do that. But yeah, so back to you. I get distracted. It's the ADHD. But back to you. The next card is the past card. This is something from your past still affecting you now. All right, Nine of Pentacles. I call this card the Snow White card, because she's got her beautiful gown. She's in her garden. She's singing to her birds, Things are good, appreciate what it is you have. But I always tell people the key with this card, and I know you probably know this, with the bird she has, it's hooded, This is kind of indicating not that you don't appreciate all that you have, but it's like you're always on to the next thing, where it's like, okay, cool, I achieved this, now this. I achieved this, now this. Instead of just really taking a step back and just pausing for a minute and appreciating everything that led you up to this point and everything that you have done, including any, thing with Jesse, anything with everybody that you've met. Remember to kind of like stop and smell the roses, like that old thing. Really take the time to acknowledge what you have done to get to this point. It's very impressive. So celebrate yourself, really take that in and appreciate all the work and the risks and the trust that you've put out into the universe. Really take a step back, breathe it in. Not that I'm saying that you don't, but just in the world that we live in, it's easy to go from, okay, that's done. What's my next thing? Take a moment and just really appreciate what you have, okay? And I'm not saying you don't do that, but do that more. Be more mindful of that, okay? The next card represents a goal that you're actively working on right now. All right. Stress. And I don't mean to downplay anything that you're experiencing or any negative feelings or anything that's been bothering you. But when this card comes up, this woman in this card is bound. She's blindfolded. She knows those 8 swords are around her, but she's not sure where to go or what to do. But if you look really closely, the binds around her are not that tight. You know, all she has to do is kind of shimmy shake out of them, take the blindfold off, and she'll realize none of these swords are blocking her. None are in front. All she has to do is step forward. And all of these things she can leave behind. But because she's not seeing the full picture, oh, okay. Back to Jessie, back to your questions. Reaching out just to give that peace offering, you know, hey, I hope everything is going well, happy holidays, whatever. I'm getting a strong sense that's going to help you move forward, kind of like what we said before. Not that he's the only thing holding you back, but I think a lot of the hurt and a lot of the want, the hopes for the way that you wish things had turned out, I don't want to say it's holding you back, but it's there. It's lingering. It's kind of like, you know, when you wash your shower, but that soap scum is still there. Like, you know, it's still there. So with this card, with the Eight of Swords, it's like you're not seeing the whole picture, so you're unable to move forward. I think just that reaching out, just that, hey, happy holidays, I do feel that's going to bring some form of closure so that you can take that off. Even just if he doesn't respond, just be like, what am I worried about? Why am I holding on to this? I need to move on. I think that's going to help you, okay? The next card is your near future. Now, this could be later on this evening, it could be tomorrow, but no more than a couple months max. It's something new that's on the way soon. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but I got goosebumps for you. The star, shine. That's what you're here to do. The star is hope. The star is looking to the future with positivity and wonder and all of that good stuff. So everything that you're experiencing, I want to go back to that first card you got, which was the Ace of Cups, where these good feelings, enjoy them. With the Nine of Pentacles, you know, appreciate, celebrate what you've done to get to this point, you know, and keep looking towards the future with that lens of hope and just knowing things are going to continue to not just be okay, but to get better and to keep. This is really good for you. I like this. All right, especially with the Chariot moving forward eventually. I feel like when you see the spread the way it is, when I said with your eventual goal, the thing that you want to do is moving forward towards your dreams, but in the foreground of your mind is this Eight of Swords, which is something that's keeping you stuck. You know, you can't move if you're tied up and all these things. I feel like especially the situation with Jessie, once you kind of come to terms with the situation and either he responds, he doesn't, whatever it is, I feel like he's the thing that's stopping you from moving forward. So hopefully that makes sense. Now the next card represents your approach to all of this. How are you managing everything? All right. Maybe not the answer you were hoping for, but, and again, it's just, you know, cards or whatever, but Five of Swords is another walking away card, you know, where we got, you know, this card when we were focusing on Jessie, walking away. When we get Five of Swords, the indication is to be more like these people, where don't engage, walk away from a situation. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's not what you want, but this guy is trying to keep, you know, enticing them back into the fight, and they're just done. So again, I keep getting the sense of you being the one to reach out, not in a dramatic goodbye type thing, but kind of that, where you just say, I hope you're well, you know, thinking of you, and that's it. I feel like something as simple as that is going to be kind of like, almost like a cleanse. It's like, all right, I did what I needed to do. Now it's time to walk away from the situation and get back to focusing on you, okay? The next card is your environment. Now this could be a person or a situation, but external energy that's affecting you. Ooh, Knight of Pentacles. Okay. Kind of like what we said before, where everything with the store and this coming year, things are going to grow and get better. The energy around you, it's growing. You know, this knight is standing by these fields that have been plowed and seeded, and I know you know all this, but it's going to take patience. I feel like going into January, maybe, you know, through February, things might not move as quickly as you want, but it doesn't mean growth isn't happening. You know, those months are about connection. Those months are about figuring out where you're going to go. Just like in this card, you can't just plant a seed and expect it to grow the next day. It takes time to root. So with this card coming up, the energy around you is saying, it's like screaming in my ear, have patience, don't panic, you know? So if you do go into a slower time, it's okay. It's part of the plan. Trust that. Everything is going to start growing and sprouting. You're fine, okay? The next card represents just an advice card. This is just something the universe wants you to know. Trust yourself. The High Priestess is about inner strength. I know you know this. You are her. Trust that, okay? Trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your emotions, all of that stuff. You know what it is you need to do. Trust your intuition. It's going to be your best friend, okay? And your final card in this spread is your distant future, where your current path is taking you. Ooh, the Emperor. I love this. In charge of your whole little empire, you know, where it's like, here you are seated on your throne. And the one thing I like to remind people about the Emperor is that, yes, it's a father energy, it's a nurturing energy, it's making sure everything is ready to go. But when you think of an emperor ruling over their kingdom, they don't do it alone, you know? They've had the vision, they started it, but they have a team of people who help run the kingdom. He's not personally doing everything. So this is saying that as your empire grows, as your brand grows, you're going to have people to help you along the way. You have support, you have hope, trust yourself, walk away from the things that are holding you back and allow yourself to move forward. And please remember to celebrate you. Appreciate everything that you've done, because what you've done is impressive. And I want you to take a moment and sit with that and appreciate everything you've done up until this point and what you're going to continue to do, okay? I hope this makes sense. I hope it helps. Please feel free to ask questions or follow-ups. I'll be happy to. I'm going to send you a picture of this spread as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed this exchange. So thank you, and I will see you soon. Happy Yule.